Hi, welcome back to Granny Wilson's. So today I'm going to be putting together a cushion cover. Those of you that have seen the chunky winter throw tutorial will recognise this as the sample that we made during the video, showing how to make the squares, how to join the squares together and how to complete the border for the larger blanket. So I wanted to do something with this sample piece because it was too nice to just throw it in a box somewhere. So I've made another piece and I've got a cushion insert. I'm going to put them together and hopefully it's going to be a lovely chunky cushion with tassels. So let's get started on how we're going to put this together. Okay, so firstly you're going to want to make the panels. So I have put a link to the chunky winter throw video in the description below. So that will show you exactly how to make these 4 squares together. So once we've done that, I've edged both sides with the border completely. So what I'm going to do to join them is to just an over sew stitch. So I'm going to use the Aran thread, which I've used to make these panels. I'm going to use it doubled because that's going to give the nicer chunky effect. I am going to put just a little knot to start. So you've got your 2 panels. I don't have, and you probably won't have, the exact same amount of stitches along here because it can differ a little when you're making the border. So I'm going to line up these center joins, and so I'm going to start in the middle. So I'm going to come up through the wrong side so that knot's hidden, and if I start in the middle, then it's easier to work out to the edge and get your middle lined up. I'm just going to do a stitch in there. Sorry, I'm upside down. So okay, so we've got both sides, right sides facing up, and we've attached here, and literally just going to over sew along to this corner here. So I'm going to go in here in the one, and then through the second panel. I'm going to come over again into the first panel, into the second panel, and you'll see with the double yarn you'll get a nice chunky join. So this probably isn't going to be exactly stitch for stitch because you may have a couple more stitches on one panel than you do on the other. They don't need to be tightly close together, and keep them nice and even. And see, I think that's quite a nice, I'm not trying to hide my sewing stitch, kind of making a bit of a feature of it. And if you keep the threads nice and flat, makes it look better. So really that is I'm just going to sew along now this edge, and then I'm going to come back along that edge, and I'll come back to you when we've sewn this whole side together. Okay, so I've gotten to the end of this quarter, and I've got lots of yarn left, so I've decided I'm going to continue up this side instead of keep joining, finishing and starting. So we're going to fold the two panels, so we've got wrong sides together, right sides out. So we've gotten into this corner, and now we're going to just over sew and stitch all the way along to the end of this side. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll be back when I've gotten to the end there. Okay, so we started here in the centre, and then I've come along to this corner, and then I've gone all the way along this side, and now I'm going to continue along this end. So carry on and sew all the way along there. Try and keep your centre, the joining of your squares, try and keep those lined up as you sew in these two pieces together. It's not really going to make a massive difference if they're not completely lined up, because you're only going to see one side of the cushion at any time. So I'm going to go along now and sew in this end, so we'll have 1, 2.5 edges completely sewn together. Okay, so I've gone round it 100 times, and I'm just going to snip across that. You need a nice sharp scissors for this bit. Okay, and I'm going to cut myself off a piece of yarn which is going to make the loop that we're going to attach it to the cushion with. So I've gone probably about 1.5 meters there, just to make sure that I've got plenty. Get the center of your tassel, lay that across your hanging piece that you've just cut. You can measure that you've got it in the center if you need to, or I've just eyeballed it. And then I'm going to do a knot and pull that quite tight. And I'm going to flip it over. Put another knot. And then another one, just so it's completely secure. So that's what we're going to use to attach it. And then we're going to take another piece of yarn, again about 1.5 meters, and then we're going to lay our tassel on top of that piece. I'm going to tie that in a knot, and we probably want to be about 1 inch from the top with the knot that I'm using here. So I've done what would be a normal knot, but then I'm going to go over again. I'm coming down, yeah, about 1 inch there. Pull that nice and tight. I'm going to flip it over. Put a couple more knots in there just to make it really secure. And I'm going to take the, I should have said, sorry, I used it quite near the end of that long piece of yarn. So you'll now have a short piece and a long piece. And we're just going to take the tassel and wrap around, probably about 10 times. And I'm going to take crochet hook, bring it up underneath, wrap that yarn around it and pull it down through. Remember to keep your loops that you're going to attach with out of the way. So now I'm just going to neaten it off by just trim it down. And there you've got a lovely tassel to attach. So we're going to put these on the corners of our cushion cover. Now, how am I going to do that? Because I haven't actually done this before. I think I'm going to thread up. So we've got 2 ends here. So I'm going to thread up the one side onto my needle. I'm going to come in on this corner. I'm going to thread up my other side of this thread. I'm going to go into the corner again, making sure that I'm not going in the exact same place. I want to catch some of the corner in between those 2 stitches. And then from the inside, I think I'm just going to tie this off. Put a few good knots in there. Make that nice and secure. Yeah, that's attached that tassel to the corner. Okay, so I'm just going to go around now and attach the other 3 tassels that I've made earlier into each corner. and then we'll come back and we'll look at, we'll see if the filler fits. It might, hopefully it's the right size, and we'll stuff it, and then we'll look at about the options of either having a totally closed edge, or putting some loops and buttons along there so that you'd be able to take it off to wash it. Okay, so I've got all the tassels on, so now I've got my cushion filler. Now this one measures, this will be a 16-inch or 40 centimetre square filler, and fingers crossed it's going to go in here perfectly. Let's see if we can stuff that in. Oh, that is actually a very good fit. Oh, it's lovely. Okay, so now if you're not going to be taking the cushion cover off, if you think it's not going to get dirty, and you're happy to, I mean, you could sew it, and as long as you keep some of the yarn, you could always unpick it if you needed to wash it, and then just re-sew it again. So you can either sew it up, but I think I might put 3 buttons. I might put one here and one here and one here. So I'm going to need to make a little loop. I'll just get my buttons and see how big they are. So I've got these really cute little buttons, and they say handmade with love, little wooden buttons from Amazon. And so let's see, I'm not sure how I'm going to make this loop. Let's start with the middle one. So I've threaded up a small piece of Aran yarn. I've double threaded that onto the needle so that you can pull the needle off. So that's going to be the loop. I guess we're going to start. I'm going to kind of thread it from, actually going to come right back down to the beginning of the border on the wrong side and bring it up just through the back of the work and bring it out level with this join. I'm going to pull that through, and then I can take the needle off, and then I guess it's getting it the right size to go around the button and tying it off. Literally making this up as I go along, but it's going to work. It's definitely going to work. So tie a few knots in there. That's a nice big knot that's not going to come through. Yeah, that works. Snip the ends off, and yeah, I'm not going to get that needle through that button. So I'm going to use a smaller needle, and I'm going to use the yarn that I used for the tassels to stitch the button on. Put a knot. So that's secured here. So then on the opposite side of the cushion, in the same place, so in line with this centre, I'm going to stitch this button on. Too much yarn here. Put a good few stitches there, bringing it right back down through your work. And just do a few over stitches to secure that in place. And then I'm going to do another 2, I think, either side. Might make the loops a little bit tighter. It could have been pulled together a little bit more. Yes, that's better. So I'm going to go ahead and put another 2 buttons on here, and then that, I guess that would be the bottom of the cushion. Okay, I'll put the other 2 buttons on and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'll put the 3 buttons on now. So that works great. This is brilliant if you want to be able to take the cushion off and wash it. Really happy with how this has turned out. I'm going to take it over to the sofa with the throw that I've made that matches, and we'll have a look and see what it looks like. Oh, so it looks lovely. So there's the throw that I've made for the chunky winter throw tutorial, and the matching cushion, and yeah, really happy. So it's nice to make something out of a demo piece, because otherwise that would have just gone in a cupboard and sat there for years and I wouldn't have done anything with it. But yeah, really pleased with that. So hopefully you'll have a go at making it, and I will see you next time. Thank you, bye.